know more about AI than you think. You just don't know how to monetize it yet. In just 15 minutes, I'm going to show you how you can charge $2,000 plus per hour without writing a single line of code. I'm going to show you exactly how to position yourself as the most valuable person in any room when the subject of artificial intelligence comes up. Here is what we're going to be covering. First up, the overlap advantage and why sitting between two worlds is worth millions to you. Second, the communication gap. How to explain AI so clearly that people will pay you for it. And third, the $0 to $2,000 an hour roadmap. 6 steps to get you from where you are right now to premium rates. These are 3 different mental models to help us reframe the opportunity in front of us, and this opportunity does exist. And at the end, I'm going to be sharing with you a free tool that I've built specifically that generates custom AI explanations for your industry. This isn't about becoming more technical, it's about becoming more valuable. So let's jump ahead and dive in. So those consultants who are charging mental amounts of money to businesses to teach them about artificial intelligence, the thing is, they're not actually smarter than you. They're not even necessarily more technical. They have just positioned themselves really cleverly as translators. I personally studied history at university, not computer science. Essays about dead kings, ancient battles, but now I charge $2,000 an hour for teaching AI. Why? Well, it's because I don't teach the technology, I teach translation. I teach why artificial intelligence is important to businesses. And I'm going to be giving you 3 mental models to help you reframe and get on the same track. First up, the overlap advantage. What you're looking at right now is a Venn diagram, 2 overlapping circles. The left circle is your industry knowledge. The right circle is your AI knowledge. And that piece in the middle, that small overlap, that is where the money lies. Let's jump in and explain these 3 areas in detail. First up, area number 1, your industry knowledge. You already have this, and that is going to be your unfair advantage moving forward. You know the actual problems that people in your industry face day to day. You know the language they use, not the tech speak. You know what solutions actually need to look like. You understand the politics, the resistance points, and the fears about artificial intelligence. Y Combinator actually tells their founders to do something called going undercover. Literally, get a job in the industry that you are trying to disrupt. Now, you are already there. You have years of experience already. You're already undercover, and therefore you have the knowledge of what needs to be helped with artificial intelligence in your industry, and that is gold dust. Area number 2 is AI literacy. Here's what most people don't realize. If you are watching a video like this right now with some British nerd talking about artificial intelligence, then you are already ahead of 99% of the people out there. If you follow me on social media, you read the newsletter, then you are actively engaging with artificial intelligence technology and learning how to best use it. It means you're paying way more attention than most people out there in the public. You're not just hearing about AI, you are actively learning, you're using it, you're experimenting with it, and you're seeing what works and what does not. And with just a bit more focused effort, you can be ahead of absolutely everybody in your industry. You already know way more than you think. Area number 3, in the middle, the third and most important area, the bridge. This is where the magic is going to happen. This is where you become really powerful and you get paid very well too. And again, this is not about being technical. It's about becoming a bridge and an interpreter between these 2 worlds. You're going to translate AI concepts into your industry's language, and you're going to help to explain to people why they need to pay attention to AI in a non-technical way. You're going to help the lay people understand. For example, I did some pro bono charity work last year, and they had previously hired an AI consultant. This guy didn't have just 1 PhD, but 2, and he had literally written a textbook about machine learning. He then spent 2 hours talking about backpropagation, neural networks, gradient descent, linear algebra, and he left leaving the people who ran this charity feeling more confused about AI than when he entered. He left them thinking that AI was harder than rocket science. I, little old me, history degree, came in a few weeks later and I said, if you can use WhatsApp, you can use artificial intelligence. And I physically saw the whole room relax. The PhD guy made them feel stupid. I made them feel capable. And that is a big, powerful difference. You're going to help the people who need to know about this technology get a grip of it. Not using technical language, but their own language, metaphors, and stories. And by the way, as a bonus, most of these overlap areas are wide open. You could literally become the person globally in your particular industry who talks about artificial intelligence. And that is a hell of a powerful position to be in. You can become a key person of influence, a KPI, and reap all the benefits of being in that position. Let's bring this into focus with a bit more of a practical example. Let's say I'm talking to a marketing agency, and the problem is that they spend 8 hours a week writing ad variations, ad copy for A/B testing for various campaigns that they run for their clients. A technical expert could go in and solve their problem with artificial intelligence. So we're going to implement fine-tune large language models with custom prompting architecture to generate copy variations using transformer-based neural networks and API integrations. Lost yet? Well, yeah, the agency owners will be. These are marketing people, remember. They're not necessarily AI experts, and they're not going to understand what the guy's talking about. So instead, we're going to go in and we're going to translate it for them. Hey, do you remember that killer Facebook ad from last month? Yeah, cool. Okay, we are going to feed that into AI, and we're going to ask it to make 20 different variations, all from different angles. We're then going to edit the 5 best or so, and then stick them up for testing and see what comes out of it. We'll be done in about 30 minutes instead of 8 hours. How does that sound? Do you see the difference? There's no mention of GPT, no API talk. We don't even touch on tokens or parameters, just clear, practical value in language that the audience will understand. These are the steps that we're going to take. That is translation, and that is what is worth $2,000 per hour easily. And more likely than not, your industry is waiting for somebody to step up and help with this stuff. Mental model 2 is the communication gap. We have established that there is an overlap, and that by sitting between these two worlds, you can help to bridge that gap. The way that we do it, the mechanism, is communication. There is a massive communication gap between people who understand AI and people who need to understand AI. Think back again to that Venn diagram that we looked at. Most AI experts live entirely in the technical world. They don't understand anyone outside of that world, and they can't change their language to suit that different audience. Whereas most people in your industry live entirely in that other area of the Venn diagram. And often these two groups are speaking entirely different languages. That gap in communication, that is your opportunity. That's what you're going to bridge and translate. Now, there are many ways to consciously improve our communication, far more than we can fit into this short video. So I just wanted to give you a couple of key tools of communication that I've discovered really work in this sphere. I'm going to rattle through them, but I've also built you a tool, a free tool, that's going to help you to implement all of these. More on this later. First up, metaphors. For each of the key concepts inside artificial intelligence, you want to come up with a metaphor that makes sense within your industry. We want to be able to explain technical concepts in everyday language. So for example, large language models, LLMs, we could say something like, imagine you've read every book in every library on Earth, and you've noticed patterns. After certain words, other words usually follow. And you've seen millions of examples of how people write and speak. Now, when someone asks you a question, you don't have to think, you just pattern match. You predict the words that come next based on the millions of examples that you've seen. And that is basically what ChatGPT does. It is the world's best pattern matching machine. We need these similar kinds of metaphors and similes for your particular industries so that we can make people realize, oh, okay, I understand, I get it. We need to get them to that point. And the more technical jargon we throw in, the harder it's going to be to do. Next up, when you are communicating the importance of AI, make sure that you demonstrate. I've given workshops across the world in many, many different industries, from pro bono sessions at small charities here in London to multi-billion-pound companies around the world. And the most important thing that I can tell you is that you cannot just talk at people and expect them to understand how AI works. My workshops, for example, are 50% lecture, 50% hands-on, because using AI is a skill. It's not purely about knowledge. In fact, some of my longer workshops skew much more towards exercises, up to 70%. We need to get people using AI as much as possible so that they can learn what it's good at, what it's not good at, and the difference between these two. Generally, you want to go in with one killer example. Having one really good example is much more important than having 10 generic ones. An example that they can run through is something that's specific to their industry and the problems that they have. This is where your knowledge of the industry itself comes into play, because you know what problems AI can solve within your industry. And you're basically going to walk them through step by step, having them follow through on ChatGPT. Show them one transformation, not 10. Don't just give them a menu of different options, as I've seen many other educators do, but instead have them implement one with you right in front of you so you know that they get it. It needs to be practical and they need to do it, not just watch you. Ideally, connect your example to money or time so that the business people in the room will very, very quickly understand why this is important. Again, I've created a tool for you that's going to help you brainstorm specific business examples, so you can run through that with people in your industry. Next up, psychological blocks. The more you work within a particular industry, the more you realize that the same questions, queries, and concerns are going to come up again and again and again. Every industry basically has the same psychological blocks. These are not technical, but psychological. It'd be things like, I'm not technical enough. What if the AI makes mistakes? It's too complicated. So, will AI take my job? AI is drinking the world's water, etc., etc. So what we can do over time is build up a question bank of frequently asked questions that we can immediately rattle off answers to. First time you get the question, yeah, sure, it's going to be hard for you to answer it. The 10th time, much easier. So the tool I've built for you will help you come up with those frequently asked questions up front for your particular industry so that you can practice them before anyone even asks. Let's move on to the third mental model, and we're going to be talking about how you go from zero to $2,000 per hour. I want to give you a roadmap of a number of different steps. So right now you understand the opportunity and you can see the gap, and you know that we're going to use communication to cross that gap. But how are you actually going to become a translator? How do you fit into this area? Here is the progression that I would follow right now. Obviously, this is not one size fits all, but I hope a useful framework for you to work from. Step 1. First up, build your translation library. We're going to put the groundwork in place right now, and this is essential. You're going to start with a few basic concepts like ChatGPT, automation, large language models, agents, data. Those are just examples, and you're going to create explanations for each of them using the language of your industry. And then you're going to build up this go-to metaphor and story and example bank. This is a library of information you're going to have in your head that when you are asked, you are able to rattle it off. You are literally going to sit down and write out these examples and these metaphors, these stories, and these explanations. You can use the tool I've created to get a head start, input your industry to get a starter library, and then build from there. Step 2 is about micro practice. We need to practice explaining AI as many times as possible so that it becomes fluid and easy for us to do. We can do this even if you don't yet have anyone to explain to. My recommendation is to shoot short 30-second to 1 minute long videos daily and to post them onto somewhere like TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube Shorts. Consider it like an AI 101 for your particular industry. Even if 3, 4, 5 people watch, it doesn't really matter, because what you are doing is getting the practice of explaining, and recording yourself, and even better, publishing it, sharpens the edge. It forces you to explain clearly. The whole point about recording yourself is it makes you tighter, cleaner, and clearer in your explanation. If you find it weird at first, have somebody off camera literally ask you the question and then just record your answer to them. Simple as. And the main purpose of this is to get your daily micro practice in. You're going to get atomic practice and build up your repetition so that it becomes more fluid when you are teaching out in public. Third step, you're going to be looking for some kind of internal practice. If you're already at a job, fantastic. You are just going to put together a short 15-minute workshop for the people around you who need to learn about artificial intelligence. By the way, this is a really good way to secure your job as well. Become the go-to AI expert within your company and you're going to be in a good place. Start with a simple 15-minute training with staff to get everyone on board about how to use artificial intelligence safely. Keep it informal. Give them one practical use case that they can take away and try out just to whet their appetite. And try not to overstuff your workshop. It is very, very tempting to want to stuff as much value as possible into your first workshop, but resist that urge. Generally, you can only get away with 1 or 2 learning outcomes, especially in a short 15-minute workshop. And the more you add in, the less likely people are to retain that information. If you don't work in a larger company that needs this kind of workshop, then I'd recommend volunteering your time at a Chamber of Commerce, a local meetup, an Eventbrite group, or some local business association where you can go and offer a free workshop. Step 4, the charity circuit. This is another way to practice without necessarily charging and therefore putting financial pressure on yourself. You're going to find a charity or non-profit in your industry or not, it doesn't really matter, and you're going to offer a free 1-hour workshop. This is great because they win, because they get free training, and you win because you're going to get practice. You're also going to make sure to get a testimonial and photos of yourself giving the workshop, which is going to be useful marketing material further down the line. Giving free workshops to charities and non-profits importantly allows you to build up your confidence in giving workshops. You are also not devaluing your time by doing them for free, which is really important when you come to charge for this sort of education. We need to keep your value per hour high inside of your head, so giving away free workshops to for-profit businesses is often very damaging. Instead, we give free workshops to charities, and then as soon as we move to businesses, in the next step, we're going to charge. Step 5. Time to monetize. What you do is incredibly valuable and everyone needs it. So we're going to start to approach businesses and tell them that we offer AI training inside our particular industry and niche. That gives us a much stronger marketing hook than a general AI or IT consultant. And the best place to start is going to be reaching out to contacts that you already have within your network. Go for the low-hanging fruit. Choose 5 to 10 people, send them a quick message saying, hey, are you interested in AI training for your company, or know of anyone else who is? Chances are they're probably just going to say, oh yeah, we are. In that first message, I would just gauge interest and say that if they want to know more, you'll send over a one-pager. Keep it light, keep it informal. In terms of pricing, I recommend starting at a relatively low price just so you can get started and build up your confidence, and then raise your price each time you give a workshop. This allows you to build up your own confidence, yes, but also your reputation within the industry in lockstep. I'd start at maybe £500 initially and then move it up to a couple of thousand. And then step 6, for those of you who want to go further, once we have opened the door to companies by educating them, giving workshops, giving trainings, then we can actually expand that relationship out. For example, we can add on a consulting offer where we're given several £1,000s a month as a retainer to act as an advisor. We can take on board positions, strategic guidance, we can set ourselves up for implementation work, or work with an implementation partner, charging tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of pounds to get systems built. We can even start to build our own products, for example, micro SaaS, to help with your industry needs that you can sell to your existing clients. And we can create courses and embedded learning programs to supply the whole industry, even if we are not able to provide that training. However, all of this starts with the translation. Remember that we are the bridge between these two worlds, the worlds of AI and the world of our industry. So if you master the skill of crossing between these two worlds, translating, interpreting, then the money will follow. Okay, now hopefully you have understood the concept and you see the opportunity. Knowing and doing, though, are very different things. Most people will watch this, nod along, and do absolutely nothing. Go and watch another YouTube video because they don't really know where to start. And I get it, these things can be overwhelming. That's why I have built you something to help you take that first step. It's not magic, it is just a tool that's going to help you create your first industry-specific AI explanations. What you're going to do is you're going to tell it your industry, give it some details, and it's going to spit out metaphors, stories, and explanations that are actually going to work within your industry. Think of it as your training wheels to becoming a translator. Obviously, you could do this without the tool. You could sit down, think about your industry problems, learn some basic AI concepts and start making connections. The tool is just there to make it a lot faster for you and to get you started and give you momentum ASAP. It's totally free to use and the link is going to be below this video if you want to take this shortcut. And also, if you found this guide useful, please like and subscribe. This is a new YouTube channel and this is a new format, so we like to know whether this is working for you. And make sure to subscribe to the newsletter where there's going to be additional resources linked to each of the weekly videos. The plan at the moment is to create a single longer form tutorial once per week and to add it into the Saturday issue of the newsletter. So make sure that you are subscribed both to YouTube and to the free newsletter. Link is in bio so that you can follow along each and every single week. Your homework now is to go and check out the tool and make sure you're signed up to the newsletter. We're going to start helping businesses around the world to learn about AI.